Hey, it's Sai here, and in this video I'm going to show you how to do an automated UI test in the Chrome browser using Visual Studio 2019 and Selenium from scratch. Now, before we actually start the automation process, it is always a good idea to manually run through the test. The reason for this is that you can actually see how the process flows and which steps are required. So, let's have a look at what we're going to cover our test today. So we're going to go to the Chrome browser and we can do a simple test like go to google.co.uk and do a search. Now we can search for anything. So let's just search for my favorite game at the moment. So we're doing a Street Fighter 5 then. Street Fighter V. Enter. Okay, and what we can do is we can verify for the test that let's say this test text here now says Street Fighter 5. Okay, so that is our test today. We're going to run from scratch using Selenium from scratch. So let's set up our project. So let's open Visual Studio 2019. I'll be using C# for the programming language. So we will create a new project. Now for this, I normally use a unit test template with the .NET framework. Okay, click on this one here. I can add you can see here I'd used it before, or you can click on here and search it by typing unit test in. So once you have that, click on next. You can then give it a name. So we can call it GoogleUITest. So give us a minute to create. Okay, once our solution has opened up, and give it a minute to have a look. So for the Selenium test, we will need to include two NuGet packages. One is the Selenium.WebDriver and the Selenium.WebDriver.ChromeDriver. So let's add those into the project now. So if you right click on the solution and choose Manage NuGet Packages for Solution. So inside our NuGet Manager, we can see that the package source is the NuGet.org, which will get us most things. We click on the Browse, and inside here we type in Selenium.WebDriver. You see, I've done it before. Selenium.WebDriver. So, like I mentioned, you're going to have to install two NuGet packages. The first one is the Selenium.WebDriver here. Just click on the NuGet packages. This is the project we're in, and we want to install the latest version. Okay, and the second one, now that it's got the green ticket, that shows that it's been installed. The second one we need is this one here, which is the Selenium.WebDriver.ChromeDriver, which allows us to interact with the Chrome browser. So click on that one, select the project, and install the latest version. Give it a second to pull down the files, and once we're happy that it's got the two green ticks, we then close off the solution, the NuGet package, and let's just do a quick build to make sure that everything is happy. So as you can see here, one succeeded. Okay, so this is our testing project now. So inside the testing project, we have a range of different tests, which test methods. So in this one, we can call it test search Street Fighter 5, then verify Street Fighter 5 is displayed. Give it the test a very good descriptive name so that you know what you're trying to do in the test. Okay, so let's start by getting the WebDriver. Let's create a Chrome driver first. So IWebDriver. So our WebDriver is a new Chrome driver. Now, as you can see, we've got these red lines highlighting under these names. That's because in this file, it does not know what Chrome driver is or the WebDriver, and that's even though we have included the packages, NuGet packages for it, you have to add it to the using statements here. Otherwise, it won't incorporate the code. So we can do this by go over the red line and then selecting to add the using the OpenQA.Selenium.Chrome. You can see it's added it into the using statement at the top. And for this one here, we do the same, and we want the OpenQA.Selenium. Okay, that will give us an instance of our Chrome driver. So now that we've got this WebDriver instance, we can then tell it to open up a Chrome driver and to navigate to the google.co.uk. So what we've got is we can then navigate, go to URL, and this is where it wants the address. So the address is google.co.uk, but we need to include the HTTP just for completeness. google.co.uk. Ideally, we should maximize let's maximize the window when it opens up as well. So as soon as it's created it, we go and let's have a look. Manage, I believe. Manage Windows.maximize. Okay, so create an instance of the Chrome driver, maximize it when it opens up. Navigate to the Google website. Now, let's have a as you saw earlier, there were some UI elements that we need to be interacted with. So we have, let's have a look, go back to the page. So we have the Google search bar that we need to interact with. After we typed in the Street Fighter 5, we then click on the Google search, and then on the resulting page, we need to grab the text from the file. So what we need to do is we need to find how we can identify the UI element so that we can speak to it, let's say. Okay, so what we can do is when you hover over the bar or the element you want to interested in, you right click and you click on inspect. Now this will open the Chrome browser DevTools. Okay, so what it shows you there, just if you click on this select the element icon here and just make sure that you got the right UI element. So what we look, the best way to identify a UI element is either maybe like something identified such as like an ID or a class name and name. Those are really useful elements to target. Or otherwise you're going to have to make some sort of complex XPath to maybe find your elements. So let's see what we've got here. So we can see we've got a name here. We can use that, and the name is just simply a Q. Okay, straightforward enough. It's a Q. Okay, so let's go back to the code then. So we need to interact with that search bar. So let's create an element to find that search bar. So we've got Google Search Bar. Now we saw that earlier that you can find it by the name queue. So what we do is in the element we need to search it by name, and the name we're looking for is simply a lowercase q. Okay, so once we do have we're able to enter some text into the search bar, and we'll need to click on the Google search button itself here. So let's find the identifier for that. So let's click over here. Okay, so what we got here, we've got some class value. That's just the text on it, and we also got a name here, which is a button btnK button K. So what we need to do is go back to Visual Studio and let's declare that one there. So we've got the Google search button. Let's give it full name. So similarly as above, we search it by the name, and it is the button K. So let's repeat how we do. Okay, so we've got the Street Fighter 5. We'll go over to the right here. Okay, so this is the resulting text we're looking for. Okay, so this text here. So let's find out what this element is. Okay, so now we'll click on the icon and select the element. Right. Okay, let's see. We've got the text here. You can see here it's in the span. No real easy things to get to, no class names, no IDs. So what we need to do is we need to it looks like it's enclosed inside a H2 element. So what we can do is we find the span which contains the text within a H2 inside the code. So I think we're going to need to write an XPath for this. So there's no simple finding it by name or find it by ID. So let's see what we can do for this one then. So it's inside the span containing the text in a H2. Okay, so what we can do for that, let's say that's the Google search results, the Google result, let's call it Google result text. Now, like I said, this time we're going to need to find it by the XPath. Okay. Oh, okay. So we know the text is Street Fighter 5. Let's have a look. So inside here, we need it equal to Street Fighter 5. And we know it's inside a span element. So we're looking for a span inside and inside the span somewhere is a H2 element. So what we can do is find any H2 elements and has a span inside it. So that should look about right, but let's test that it will find it first. Let's go. So we can actually use the dev tools to see if we can actually bring anything back. So in the dev tools, there you go. We found using this XPath console part, we can then find out we actually found the elements span, and it should have Street Fighter 5 inside it. Oh, great. Yep. So that's looking good on that side. Okay, so we can close that for the time being. Okay. So once we navigate to the google.co.uk site, we want to be able to enter the Street Fighter text inside the Google search bar, which we found at the top here. So what we can do is get the WebDriver again, and we want to be able to find the element, and the one we're looking for is the Google search bar. And we want to send some characters to it. So this is done by send keys, and what we're looking for is the word Street Fighter. Let's go to 5V then. Yeah, okay. And as soon as we've done that, we want to be able to click on the Google search button. So similarly, we need to grab the Google search button. So WebDriver dot find element. We will give it the Google search button. Let's change it to capital B to be consistent with the name convention. And what we're trying to do is, once we enter the text, we want to click on it. So we now need to do a click command. Okay. So once we've done the click command, we want to verify the results. It's what we're expecting. So that is the point of the test, is that we're verifying the text contains or equals to the Street Fighter 5. So let's get the results back first. So let's get the results. So WebDriver dot find elements, and we're looking for the Google results text back. Now we need to store that into a variable so that we can then check the inside of the element object. So this is the, call it the actual result text equals to the WebDriver. So whatever it finds in the Google result text, it's going to find the element, and then it's going to store it into the actual result text here. And with all tests, we need to do like asserting to see if it, something is true or false. So we're checking for that it's true, that we got the text which is in here. The text part is equals that to Street Fighter 5, and I think that should do it. Oh, we must close the at the end. Let's close the WebDriver down. Okay, so let's have a look what we've got. So we've got the 3 elements. We created the Chrome driver. We maximize this, the browser window. We navigate to the google.co.uk. We enter this the Street Fighter for the search bar, and we then click on the search button. We get the results text, and then we verify that contains it. So let's save that. Okay, now to run these tests, you will need to see the text inside the Test Explorer window. Now, if you don't see the Test Explorer, I normally have it on the side, but if you don't see it, you can view it from the test menu at the top, and then click on Text Explorer to see it. So if I close this down, and then you go to here, and then Text Explorer, it's over here. Okay, so if you open and expand it up, you can see this is our test here, the test search button. Then that's the test method. So let's run it and see how we're looking. Okay, so you saw the Chrome browser open up, and it has navigated to the Google address on here. But I do remember, I have seen this before, where when you go to Google and you're doing automation using Selenium, it will always, even though I'm logged in into the Google account, it always tries to ask you to do verify the Google search before you do. So you have to click on this I agree button here before you allow to continue. So what we need to do is we need to get the automation test to, when it gets to this point, to click on I agree here. Okay, the I agree button here. So let's do the same as what we did earlier. So let's inspect this element. Let's have a look in here. Okay, so let's have a look at what we can find. So this is the button we're interested in, and what can we get? Okay, so this one, luckily, it's got a funny looking ID value, but I think we could use this value. So let's close this one down. So we need to find another element to store. So this is the googleIAgreeButton. And this one's easy because it's got an ID. So ID, and the name of it was this. Okay, so I believe that must have came up after we went to the google.co.uk. So we must click on that when after we enter the address. So let's have a look at the, so let's have WebDriver dot find element. Okay, so we're looking for the Google I agree button to click on, and so now let's do click search method. Okay, now with automation, UI automation, sometimes it can go really quick and you want to be able to see, you know, what's going on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little delay in to each, like in various steps, so that we can actually see if it's working for us efficiently. Okay, so what we can do is once we maximize it, we can add a thread in. So Thread.Sleep. Okay, like I said, now it doesn't know what it is. So what you can do is, this is the from the threading class. You can add in here, and now you can see that it's adding to the threading class. We can get rid of this one and clean up the unnecessary using. So get rid of the system. So we've got the threading using here, and it takes the sleep takes in a millisecond. So we're looking for some sort of time to wait for. So let's say we'll let it wait for a second. Okay, so we'll give it a variable, because we'll probably be using this in a few places. So we'll give it a waiting time. 1 second is 1000 milliseconds. So if we just wait for 1 second here, let's give a chance to see what's going on. So after we enter the address, we wait a second before we do after the click, and wait a second to find the send. So after send, so that's fine. Click Street Fighter, click sending key. I will click the yep. Let's click on. Let's wait on here, and let's see if we got that. So let's run that again. Oh, that's my mistake. Yes, this is because this is a unit test project. I cannot just run it. I have to run it through the test explorer. Yeah. Okay. So as you can see, it's gone all red here previously because the test failed. So if we run it now, see what we'll get. So there you go. Maximize the browser. Wait a second. Why didn't you know pressing the button? Let's go back. So let's go back. Now, why didn't you click the button? That was the button ID. Is it not enough time to see it? Let's wait for 2 seconds then. Let's just give that a try. Sometimes with UI elements, why is it not clicking the I agree button? It should. Let's just check the name hasn't changed on it. It's still L2AGLB, which sounds right. So the elements hasn't changed, because sometimes you get elements which are auto-generated every time. So it could change, but it looks the same to me. So let's have a look here. Yeah, looks the same. So should be fine. Let's have a look at the any details. What can I find? Okay, let's have a look. Elements not clickable. Reception. Sorry about that. I just had to work out why it wasn't working, which is very odd. So I did a little bit debugging, so I didn't want to keep you waiting. So what I found out was that when it was maximizing the window, it was causing the we weren't able to click on the Google I agree button. So what we're going to do is we're going to take it away from when we first create. We're not going to create the maximizing of the window away from the start, and we're going to do it after the I agree button has been clicked. Okay, like so. Whew, that was took me a little while to find. So let's get rid of some breakpoints. So now save and let's run this again. So hopefully this time we got it working. Okay, so we're going to maximize it after I'll go back in the little pop-up for the before confirmation. There's entering the text, there's the results, and then we're going to verify the results is correct, and we should see the test is all green, so that means it's passed. It's fine. Phew. So yes, I think sometimes the sequence of events is important. So I hope you found this video useful, and if it is useful, please click on the like button and subscribe for future videos. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.